Hello and a very warm welcome to Coapexpan, Jalapa, the home of the CSIO 5-Star Competition 2018. It's the Longines Grand Prix this afternoon here in Coapexpan, and we've got a star-studded field coming forward. 8 countries represented, 25 riders, and of those 16 represented from the home nation Mexico, 1 from Germany, 2 from Canada, 1 from Ecuador, 1 from Uruguay, 2 from Brazil, 1 from Argentina and 1 from Spain. Well, the course is set here in the main arena, and the course set fair, the weather conditions a little bit overcast at the moment. We've had beautiful sunshine here this morning, temperature around 22-23 degrees, and the course 1.60 m, distance of 510 meters with a time allowed of 77 seconds. 2-phase competition, the Grand Prix, with a possible jump off. It is going back to Table A. Many of you may remember years ago, the first round is penalised on poles down and time penalties. The second round only on fences down. The time not in the equation for the second round. And then those moving forward, should we have that all-important jump-off phase later on this afternoon. Well, as I said, the course set and the course design by Guilherme Nogueira Jorge from Brazil, and a real test of jumping out there in the main arena. Some really good twists and turns. The starting order, it's of the 26th first to go. Andre Azcárraga with Luminoso LS, Enrique Gonzalez, Patricia Pascal, first of the 2 brothers from Mexico, Wilhelm Genn for Germany, Bugatti, Federico Fernandez, Davidoff for Mexico, Alfredo Ramirez Pereira. Red Gold is number 6th on the starting list. Moving down, Kian White for Canada, Lorenzo O'Farrell, Antonio Mora, Diego Javier Vivero Verteri, Jose Antonio Chadori Prom, 11th out. Of course, president of the grounds here, Francisco Pascual, 13th. Rodrigo Rambra for Brazil, Fabian Sejain for Argentina, Paulo Ambilia is 18th of the 26th for Spain, Brunella D'Areal, and further down it is Alberto Sanchez Cozar for Mexico, Jen Serek for Canada, 21st out of the 26th, Eduardo Menezes for Brazil, Quintol, 24th, and then the final 2 riders in the Longines Grand Prix. It will be a final rider actually, Luis Alejandro Placencia and Da Vinci will be the very last of the 25 that come forward to contest the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan. Well, the first to jump, representing Mexico. It is 510 meters, 77 seconds time allowed. Andre Azcárraga, Luminoso LS, 15-year-old stallion by Lux, combination that have had some good form. And it's 12 numbered fences, 15 jumping efforts here in the Grand Prix. They start off over the Longines Oxer at 1, then a rollback to the upright at 2, before the first real test. It's the Oxer 3 off the left-handed turn, 7 strides then to the open water, and then 6 strides to a very, very upright vertical at fence 5. Swinging back left-handed, really big rollback to an Oxer 6 before the treble combination, the Longines treble, 7A, B and C. Rolling on right-handed past VIPs to an Oxer at 8-9, the upright on 4 strides. Very nearly home. 10 the Oxer, and then 6 strides to a related distance of 1 stride in the middle of the combination, 11A, 11B, and then the final fence, the Oxer, Longines Oxer at fence 12, and across the finish line they go. So the first to jump, Andre Azcárraga and Luminoso LS, is owned by Jaime Azcárraga and the Azcárraga family. Hugely experienced and a really good team here of Mexican riders. Turning back to the third, that Oxer, now the water on the 7 strides, just anchoring back. It's a kick out. Then this really big upright, has that down. That always going to be the problem after the water. Very clever, the course designers. So 4 faults at fence 5. I think we may see that fence go quite a bit as well into the treble, the Longines treble combination at 7A, B and C. Next related distance at 8 and 9. Jumping well through there, turning back left-handed towards the VIP area. Crowds are starting to fill here. Just jumps right on the left-hand side to the double, and then just the final fence. 70 seconds, the time allowed. Time looks pretty good, and has the last as well. So a total of 8 jumping in a time of 73.48 for Andre Azcaraga Luminoso LS. So no jumping, but it is 8 jumping penalties for the first to go in the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan 2018. This 5-star show really has attracted some of the world's best. And of course the Nations Cup, that runs on Sunday. First horse jumping at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. As the bell goes for the next in the Longines Grand Prix, Enrique Gonzalez and Shakna, 11-year-old mare by Chaco Blue. Enrique, one of Mexico's leading riders with numerous Grand Prix wins under his belt. Represented Mexico at the Olympic Games in Beijing and a member of the bronze medal winning team at the 2011 Pan Am Games in his home country. Also represented Mexico at the 2014 World Equestrian Games at Caen in Normandy. So he does jump clear of the big upright at 5. Lovely big mare, showing all of her scope and agility. And it's one of those things with these top-class show jumpers that when they jump out over a water, they have to have the adaptability to then come back, shorten for an upright. And that demonstrated beautifully by this mare. So still clear, coming back towards the line by the VIP area. Gets the 6 strides. So just the one left to jump, the Longines Oxa at 12. And a great round, clear inside the time for the Mexican Enrique Gonzalez and Shakna, the 11-year-old mare. Nothing to add to their score. Made the time easily. 71.95 their time. 73.48 the first rider. So it's going to really test these horse and rider combinations. Well, now the first of the 2 brothers. It is Patricio Pascal, ranked 100 in the Longines World Ranking. 46 years old. Brother Francisco has represented Mexico at World Cup and Nations Cup events, as too has Patricio. In July 2016, this combination won the very prestigious 5-star in Spruce Meadows, United States. Numerous Grand Prix placings and one of Mexico's most experienced riders. Babel, 11-year-old by Billy DeLise. So that time so far proving fairly easy for the riders in the Longines Grand Prix. 70 seconds time allowed, 12 numbered fences, 15 jumping efforts, 510 metres around the course, travelling at 400 metres per minute to get that time allowed. Moves on to the water. Lovely big jump. Clean pair of heels. And again, shortens beautifully to the upright at 5. This rollback turn then to the Femme Academy Oxa. Past the trade stands. Always a chance, just the horses take their eye off the job in hand. Shortens really nicely coming out of the treble. Babel coming down to 11 AB. One stride in between. Now just the last. Could this be another clear round? Time looking really good. Just gives the front rail a rub, but it is clear. 71.89 there for Patricio Pascual and Babel, adding to the other clear of Enrique Gonzalez and Shakna. Two super clears from the two Mexicans. Out of the three, we've had two clears. Gives Babel a huge pat for his efforts in the arena. Well, now we move to the one and only representative for Germany. It is Wilhelm Genn and Bugatti. With Bugatti, they had a couple of two-star wins in the build-up here. 12th in the four-star Grand Prix here a week or so ago, based in Wellington, Florida, for a couple of decades now, with wife Patricia and also his three sons, who all ride. Very experienced family with this lovely 12-year-old by Heartbreaker, Dutch bred, owned by Eduardo Leon. Gets the 7 strides to the water. Well, I think experience really showing with a number of these riders now, just the way they attack the water, then use their upper body just to slow the horses down, regain the balance after opening them up over that big water. Well, really having to work coming out of the treble, but Bugatti answers the questions. 4 strides in between, but he's just losing a little bit of confidence on his round. Has that rail down. So 4 penalties to add. And also has the back rail of the Longines Oxer down at the last. So we won't be seeing a German in the jump off. It is 8 penalties in a time of 76.05, just inside the time allowed of 77 seconds. So far the penalties 8-0-0-8, as we now welcome Federico Fernandez and Davidoff. 9-year-old chestnut gelding by Olympic Fire. Started riding at the age of 6, long time in the saddle, studied business admin at the University of Mexico City. Married Paula, who is also riding here later on in the class. Former international show jumper herself, who represented Spain at many international events. And Federico survived a horrific plane crash back in the late 80s when the jet he was in, carrying members of the Mexican Equestrian Federation, came down. Been through a really traumatic time, multiple operations, and he's represented Mexico at a multiple of championships. Enormously experienced. Oh dear. There we see what he didn't want to happen. And Davidoff really did start looking, taking the bridle as well, but he did not want to go for a swim. Davidoff still at large in the main international arena here, but really did start backing off. The second he jumped the 4th, coming to that water, just was having none of it. And unfortunately, poor Federico gets a ducking. All right up here in front of our commentary position, Davidoff. Lots of people come in the arena, but he's having a lovely time out there. Well, just 9 years old by Olympic Fire. Wouldn't be the most experienced, and a lot of the horses haven't had a huge amount of experience jumping on grass as well. We'll see that a lot coming into the Nations Cup. A lot of the winter been spent jumping in international indoor arenas, and then they come out onto grass, and it's a totally different feel. Many of them would have been travelling around the country trying to get that run on grass to come to the five-star show here in Jalapa, Coapexpan. Really is a wonderful venue that has been set up, and it's been building over the years. The events here in Coapexpan are consolidated in Mexico as the most interesting and competitive. And back in 2014, here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, the FEI Nations Cup came, and thereafter each year receives area teams in North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. One of the annual dates for this prestigious event. Well, good to see that Davidoff has been caught and leaving the arena, but it is elimination for Fernando and Davidoff. So next to go in the Longines Grand Prix, it is red gold. Red gold with Alfredo Ramirez Piedra, 7th in the 150 here, 1 meter 50 last week in a bit of a warm-up show, just giving his phone over. Still had that in his pocket. He's probably telling everybody not to make phone calls. Having a bit of a laugh there with the arena staff. They do a wonderful job as well, giving up their time. The volunteers here for this five-star show are second to none, really hospitable, and really do make you feel very much at home. Well, Alfredo Ramirez Piedra and red gold, 14-year-old gelding. This chestnut by Zhang, owned by Mariana Archiga Cibaville. Another one, just having a really good look at the first couple of fences. Coming around to the third. Then on this related distance, 7 strides it is to the water. A bit of a dog leg as well. So a bit of a curve in there. Puts a toe in the water, so that will be 4 penalties to add. Gets close to the uprights. Didn't really start off the most confident that we've seen. So I think that was pretty much proof in the pudding, and that story being untold and unravelled as they started. And now a little bit better. An enormous horse. See what he makes of the distance in this treble. Gets quite high in the air over the middle part and over the last part of the treble. Having to work quite hard. Rides on quite a loose, long rein. Seems to suit Red Gold, though, in his way of jumping. Six strides to the Oxer at 11A. Already eyeing up the Longines Oxer to finish. Gets a little bit close and lands on the back rail. So time as well. It is a total of 14 for Alfredo Ramirez Piedra and Red Gold. So still only the 2 clears, Enrique Gonzalez and Patricio Pascual. There are only 2 clears at the moment in the first round of the Grand Prix. So it was 12 jumping and 2 time there for Alfredo Ramirez Piedra. Well, the next to go representing Canada, it is Kian White. Kian riding for Freedom Z, 13-year-old gelding by For Pleasure. The Damsar Balabé du Rouet, owned by the Angelstone Partners. Of course, set up very successful yards, founded Angelstone Farms at just 18 years of age in Ontario, Canada. Also in 2010, he hosted the first annual international show, now hosting 5 at his home base in Canada. 20th in the individual World Cup final in Omaha last year. Very successful junior he was as well. A career which included 5 successive trips to North American Young Rider Championships. Hugely influenced by former Olympian Eric Lamaze. Great team of horses. Really competitive. Competed in many World Cup finals as well. One of those being in Las Vegas back in 2009. Jumping really well so far. Really showing his class, this 13-year-old. And over the last, we'll get a check on their time. Well, just inside 75.54. Inside the time allowed of 77 seconds, so no penalties. He will go into the second round with a clean sheet. Kian White with the Angelstone partners for Freedom Z for Canada. Well, into the arena now comes Lorenza O'Farrell. She rides Queen's Darling. Queen's Darling, 13-year-old by Quidams Rubin, owned by Jacobo Martinez Remas. Representing Mexico, 16th in the team in the World Equestrian Games back in 1998. That was in Rome. This combination finished 7th in the Grand Prix here last week in the 1m50 class. A really nice 7 strides to the water, then the short 6 strides to the upright, has that down. That always a little bit of a risk. She rode the water on a fairly straight line, which meant that she was quite open then on her 6 strides to the upright. Anchoring back for the treble combination, the Longines treble. 7A, B, C, no problems. So carrying the 4 penalties. Well, a shame because they've jumped really well. And to clear the last inside the time allowed, but it is 4 penalties there. For Lorenza O'Farrell, Queen's Darling. They finish on 4 penalties. Well, of the 8 horses so far, 3 clears, but a long way to go. 2-phase competition, including if it's required, a jump off. Now Antonio Mora with Galileo de Lubri, 12-year-old by Cardento, great gelding. Owned by Patricio Miguel Nandero Brasquez for Mexico at the Sydney Olympic Games back in 2000, 12th in the team. Competed also at the World Equestrian Games at Lexington, Kentucky back in 2010. Team bronze from the 2011 Continental Games in Guadalajara. Steps over the first. Galileo de Lubri is enormous. Well, a foot in the water is 4 to, you can see the red flag goes up. That is 4 to add. One of the most frustrating things as a rider in these classes is the horses might jump a superb clear round and just step in the water. Nothing more infuriating. Shake of the head between B and C from Galileo de L'Aubry, but gets on with the job. This may be one that might just pick up the odd time penalty. Gets a little bit deep to the Oxer at 10, has the back rail down, and the back rail down of 11A. And the time is going to be all right, but 3 fences down, 12 penalties to add for Antonio Mora and Galileo de L'Aubry in a time of 74.47. So that was 2 fences down and a foot in the water. There's a tape on the back rail. I didn't really need to see the tape. There's a definite splash of water there for Galileo de L'Aubry as he landed in the water at fence 4. Well, next it's the turn of Ecuador. It is Diego Javier Vivere Veteri. And he rides Serrano VH Dingenshof. Serrano VH Dingenshof, 11-year-old gelding, Dutch bred, owned by Natalia Pisano. Competed at 2 continental games. Ooh, back in 2014 and 2015. Really had to stretch over the second. Wow, riding for the third, and onto the water they come. Riding hard, airborne. And again, my goodness me. Serrano VH Dingenshof is really showing his scope. Ooh! I haven't seen anything quite like this in a long time. What was he going to make of the treble? Has the most unusual, fascinating technique with his front legs. He is still clear. Wow. 4 strides up in the air. My goodness, he does not want to touch a pole, this horse. You can see gasps from the VIP area. I think we're all doing the same, but he's still jumping. He's going to get time faults though. He's going to be over the time. It's 1 time penalty. What a shame there for Diego Javier Vivere Veteri and Serrano VH Dingenshof. 1 time penalty to add. That will be the score they take into the second round. Wow. What a round of jumping from this 11-year-old. I think that's one we really enjoyed watching. One that had our hearts in our mouths as well. A little bit away around the arena. Well, now it's the time of Jose Antonio Chadrai Prom with Aymara de Bergier. 12-year-old bay mare by Canturo. Well, a family that have been steeped in history here, 5th individually and 5th in the team at the Youth Championships in Lexington, Kentucky back in 2011. Father, Jose Antonio Sr., representing Mexico in show jumping at the 96 Olympic Games in Atlanta. Yeah, did put a toe in the water, so 4 to add. His father also represented his country in the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. goes at 10. And over the last, also picks up a time penalty. So, foot in the water, fence down at 10, and one time penalty, total of 11 there. Total of 9, get my maths right. 2 fences down, one time penalty for Jose Antonio Chateau-Prom and Aymara de Bergier by Canturo Cavalier Royal lines. So some lovely breeding. Next it is for Uruguay, Juan Manuel Lizardo and Stan. Well, nearly 12 months since Juan Manuel accepted honours as the breakout winner of Mexico's World Cup qualifier. That day certainly hasn't faded in his mind and has, if anything, made the 36-year-old even hungrier for success. Stan, who can be quite hot, never looks overly fast, but can be quite deceptive in his way of going, and in the jump-offs can certainly put pressure on the very best. Stan by Staccato, 12 years old. Very nearly halfway in the first round of the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, for the CSIO 5-star Longines Grand Prix. Well, so far showing why they were winners over 12 months ago of that really good win in the World Cup qualifier. Just the last, time's good. And clears it, pushes on for the line, punches the air. Juan Manuel Lizardo and Stan go into the second round with a clean jumping sheet. Really good round there from the rider from Uruguay. And this 12-year-old looks in really good shape, really good form. So good to see all the horses looking absolutely pinging out of their skin. Really good coats. The grooms and all connections do so much and work tirelessly hard. Well, now for Mexico, it is Francisco Pascual and Naranjo by Robin II, 11-year-old bay gelding, owned by Francisco himself. Brother to Patricio, who jumped earlier on. Jumped a really good clear round, so pressure on the brother. Represented Mexico numerous occasions at World Cup and Nations Cup levels. And at the 2006 Continental Games, they were individual bronze and, if I'm right, team gold back in 2006. So Patricio jumped clear. Can Francisco join him? Great rivalry between the two brothers. We should see this pair on the Nations Cup team as well, the two brothers on the team. Yep, clean at the water. Ooh, runs down to the upright. The WWAT upright. Pretty quick across the ground as well. Onto the treble. Need to just have a little bit of balance here. That was a shame because he just travelled and just lost a bit of concentration, a little bit of balance coming into the treble. So he's on 4. He won't want any more than that. Puff of the cheeks. Ooh, fighting down. Just runs himself into trouble. Naranjo. Oh, dear. Well, it just went a little bit wrong. So, total of 12 at the moment. Didn't get the stride he wanted to the last. And also has the back rail down just to add an insult to injury. Total of 19 penalties there for Francisco Pascual and Naranjo. Wow, that's a real shame. 19 for the Mexican. So, halfway, just over now. And still, we've had 4 clear rounds, 5 if you include Diego Javier Vivere Veteri and Tesserone VH Dingenjoff. They had 1 time penalty. So it's looking good for the second round. As we now welcome in for Brazil, Rodrigo Lambra and Kuhlmann by Kitalota, 11-year-old Grey Gelding, ranked 63rd in the Longines World Ranking. Out of the 26 riders, 8 countries, 2 from Brazil. And this is the first of them. And we'll see later on, second of the Brazilians, Eduardo Menezes and Quintol. They will be second last to jump of the 25 that come forward. Ooh, gets high. Now coming back to the Oxer at 10. He's got 10 seconds to get home. He should be okay. And over the last. So he adds to the clears, and it's the first clear round for Brazil. 5 clear rounds now. First of those, Enrique Gonzalez and Schachner. Then we moved on to Patricio Pascual Babel. Third of them, Kian White for Canada, for Freedom Z. Juan Manuel Lizardo, Stan, and now Rodrigo Lambra and Kuhlmann. 5 clear rounds and 15th to go. Out of the 25 is Fabien Sijain with Siamalia Z by Crown Z, 13-year-old bay mare, owned by Daniel Rien and family. Well, it certainly has proved a fairly influential track so far. 1 elimination, Federico Fernandez and Davidoff, who of course parted company at the water, and Federico got unseasonably wet. Weather here for jumping almost perfect. It's slightly overcast. We had a little bit of rain overnight. Good at the water. Fighting down to this upright. Just gets his body out of the way. That was a good bit of riding there from Fabien. Just let the horse get out of the way and use all of his body. Use of all of her body. Siamalia Z. She really tries, doesn't she? He just sits in balance, says, there you go. Wow. Time looking okay, just about, is it? Ooh, 1 time penalty again. So, The Argentinian picks up one time penalty. Spends a lot of time in the air, CML, but clear round, one time fault in the bag. Only 0.27 over the time allowed of 77 seconds. But there'll be a combination that we'll look forward to seeing in the second round of jumping. Well, next to jump in the Longines Grand Prix, it is for Mexico, Salvador Oñate with the big red. 1999 team bronze from the Continental Games in Toronto. 8th individually back in 2015 in the games there. Former president of the Equestrian Association of Leon in Mexico. Yep, good at the water. Gives the top rail of the upright, the WWAT upright at 5 a good rub, but it stays in the cups. Big red, full of running, looking keen to get on with his job. Loses a stirrup, stays in balance. Now he'll want to get it back on the turn. Looks down, yep, got it back. No, he hasn't. He says, okay, now we'll try again. Now we'll try again. Now we'll try again. He has got it. Oh. Well, that was a shame. And clears the last inside the time allowed, 77 seconds. One fence down for Salvador Oñate and a big red. 4 penalties to add. 40 years old. Been around on the circuit for a number of years and produced some really good top-class horses. But that fence at 11 hits the floor. Well, now it's the turn of Fernando Martinez Sommer, riding Coapexpan by Colorando, 11-year-old gelding. So Fernando Martinez Sommer, Coapexpan, 11 years old, competed in a number of continental games in the United States, representing Mexico. 9th individually in 2008, 15th individually in 2009, all at Lexington, Kentucky, and team 6th in 2010. Gets high over the water, don't think that was a problem. 29 years old. So just the last to jump. Looks pretty good on the time as well. In fact, one of the quickest we've seen. And over the last. And it, in fact, is the quickest clear round we've seen. Goes to the top of the fairly uninfluential leaderboard. They've got another round to jump. But Fernando Martinez Sommer and Coapexpan, 71.59. And a clear in the Longines Grand Prix here at Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico, 2018. Well, really hotting up. It is 6 clear rounds and 2 of them also on 1 penalty in the top 8. We're looking forward to a really exciting second round. It is now the turn of Paula. Paola Miblia, wife of Federico Fernandez, former Spanish young rider champion in 2005 and 2006, also finalist at the European Championships in 2007 in Mannheim, competed at the World Equestrian Games in Caen, Normandy 2014, part of the winning team of the 2012 Nations Cup final. Lovely stylish rider. So Paolo Amilibia coming towards home, just that one rail down so far. And clears the last. 4 penalties it is for Paolo Amilibia and Prunella Dariel by Diamante Smi, that 15-year-old mare. Not the easiest of rounds for her, rather fighting her way round, but it is just the one fence down. Lots to play for. Well, next to go, it is another rider for Mexico, Alberto Sanchez Cozar, and Union de la Nutria, by another one by Diamante Smi, 10-year-old bay gelding, owned by Alberto himself and Sapphire Sanchez Cozar. Looking down the leaderboard so far, 6 clear rounds, 2 with 1 time penalty, and then we move on to the 4 falters. Round 1 of 2. Oh dear, just gets really, really close to the Oxer at 3. Jumps the water fine, fighting down to the upright, but they do get away with it. Almost jumps himself into trouble. In fact, he does at 9. Jumps really big over the Oxer at 8, going into that related distance. And just gets too close to the red upright. Has that down. Really, really great twisting track, and really showing the technicality of this track. Oh dear, gets a little bit wrong at the last as well, and a time penalty. So 8 jumping, 1 time for Alberto Sanchez Cozar, Union de la Nutria. Total of 9 penalties. Well, now a man that has done so much for the sport of show jumping in Mexico, Jose Antonio Chadra Egüe and Nilube by Nintendo, 12-year-old gelding, represented Mexico at 2 Olympic Games back in Beijing, in Hong Kong in 2008, also at Atlanta in 96, the World Equestrian Games in Jerez in Spain in 2002. In 96, the year he rode in Atlanta, his father, Antonio, created the Coapexpan Equestrian Club here in Jalapa, and his vision, only one, was for the facility to become home for international show jumping competitions. It's grown from strength to strength, and one of the competitions that's very much on the map for a lot of competitors that they come here to compete. Oh, runs on down. 5 has it down. Jose Antonio, he's also the director of the family supermarket chain here in Mexico. The wonderful facilities that are here. This main arena, there's also another grass arena down below. Also another one up on the hill with fantastic warm-up facilities, permanent stabling, permanent wash areas. And jumps the last is going to pick up a time fault as well. So it's 1 fence down plus 1 time penalty for Jose Antonio Chadraya Egua and Nina Lubey. Total of 5. Well, 5 left to jump in the first round of the Longines Grand Prix. Well, this lady, Jen Serek, riding Cassandra, riding the 11-year-old mare by Tangelo van der Zutover, owned by the Cassandra Group, representing Canada, founder of the Springbank Stables, operating out of the beautiful Rocky Mountain Horse Park. Successfully competed across North America as well as South America and Europe. So 4 left to go, 3 for Mexico in fact, 3 for Mexico, 1 for Brazil. Ooh, gets a bit of a growl there from Jen. Still clear. No, she's not. Spoke too soon and then gets very close. Just the wheels coming slightly off the cart coming towards home. 1 fence down so far. And another. So that's a total of 8. As they just come to the last. Time will be tight. They will pick up a time penalty as well. So total of 8 jumping, 1 time for Jen Serek and Cassandra for Canada. Well, the next to go for Mexico, Mario Oñate and Courts de Land. Courts de Land has in fact lost a shoe in the warm-up area, so will come a little bit later. We'll see who does join us. It should be then Juan Jose Zendaria Salgado with Tino La Chapelle. That's who we think should be next to go. Just looking to our left-hand side. Nobody's coming in under the Longines arch at the moment. It is, though, 6 clear rounds. And we've seen some really impressive jumping rounds so far here in the main arena for the Longines Grand Prix. Martinez Sommer, Fernando Martinez Sommer, he was one of the clears. Coapexpan, Patricia Pascual with Babel, Enrique Gonzalez and Schachner. Juan Manuel Lizardo, Stan, Rodrigo Lambre and Kian White for Canada, making up those 6. So under the Longines arch and into the main arena, now comes Juan Jose Zendaraz Salgado, Tino La Chapelle, by my Lord Carthago, Sir Francais, owned by Alejandro Zendarias, 11-year-old grey. Combination that have had some good form, 25 years old now. individual 20th and team 5th at the 2011 Youth Continental Championships. Ooh. Yeah. Just landed and then fought his way all the way down to the uprights at 5. And didn't really stand much of a chance of jumping that cleanly. Oh, come on. Yeah. Just struggling down the line. The Longines treble at 7, but does get away with it. Doesn't always hold the straightest of lines between fences. Lands with a little bit of a wriggle. And then rather jumps himself into trouble. Ooh. So just the last jump, well inside the time allowed, 77 seconds. But it is the one fence down. 4 penalties to add then for Juan Jose Zendejas Salgado, Tino Lachapelle for Mexico. Well, you see the ranking goes into 10th place at the moment. That's fairly irrelevant at the moment with the second round still to come. It's the combination of the first and second round scores that we're really looking for, and that all-important jump-off should there be one. Well, next to jump, representing Brazil, it is Eduardo Menezes. Eduardo Menezes with Quintal, 13-year-old grey gelding by Quintenda. Owned by Eduardo himself and Gestut Lewitz. Olympic rider, competed at the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games. Home country, 28th individually and team 5th. Also completed and competed at the 2011 World Cup Finals, and a member of the 4th place team at the Pan American Games in 2015. So Eduardo Menezes and the Quintal down to the oxa, that ascending oxa to the red vertical, very, very airy vertical. Turn back left-handed. Still clear, jumping really well. Could we see number 7 of the clear rounds? One fence, ooh, living by the seat of his pants, but it is a clear round for Eduardo Menezes and a Quintal. They do add 7 clear rounds, 2 left to jump. We think it will be now the turn of Mario Oñate. Had that shoe put back on with court to the land. I'll just confirm that. Have seen them just trot past here in the commentary position. So Court de Land by Jenny Drasens, owned by Mario himself. So had the shoe put on. Very hard working team here. The farrier very quick to put that shoe back on. Only missed one spot, one place, and back in they come. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, come on, come on. No. Well, that's 4, and we'll pick up another 4 for the run out at the water. It may be that he's going to retire as well. In fact, looks like he's going to retire. Well, that's a real shame after all of the hard work. Losing a shoe, having it put back on. Mario Nyata and Courts de Lalande have retired. They are leaving the arena under the Longines arch. So the next to go and the last to jump is Luis Alejandro Placentia with Da Vinci. So Da Vinci by Verdi, Concord Lines, this Dutch bred owned by the Carroll Cox horses. Luis Alejandro Placentia and Da Vinci. Individual 18th at the Continental Youth Championships in Lexington, Kentucky in 2009. And then went on in the following year, slightly bettered by their individual 8th in the Continental Championships and Team 6. It's quite interesting. They've had the first fence down. I think they've got really appropriate music playing in the background as well here. So first fence hits the floor. Gives the WWAT upright a good rub as well at 5. Swings back now, left-handed to the Femme Academy Oxer, now the Longines treble. 7 ABC, 1 stride and 2 strides. Just has to anchor down a little bit between the two elements from the ascending Oxer and the red upright at 7 and 8. Rode that really quite beautifully. What a shame, just that first fence hitting the floor. Time's looking good. Oh dear. Then gets to striding all wrong to the last. It is 2 fences down, 8 penalties to add there for Luis Alejandro Placentia and Da Vinci. In a time of 70.77 seconds. It is, though, 7 clear rounds in the Longines Grand Prix. First round, there will be a quick course change. Time to grab yourselves a cup of tea or a cup of coffee wherever you're watching all around the world. Hope you're enjoying the coverage here from Jalapa, Coapexpan for the CSIO 5-star Longines Grand Prix. There will be a course change for round 2, but here are the clear rounds so far. It is Fernando, Martinez Summer, Eduardo Menetz, Patricio Pascual, Enrique Gonzalez, Juan Manuel Lizardo, Rodrigo Lambra and Kian White are the 7 clear rounds so far. Kian there in 7th for Canada. The scores fairly irrelevant at the moment because we've got the second round to come. These scores will all go through into the second round. 2 on 1, time penalty. And then going further down, joining the 8 penalty group is Louis. So the very hard-working team here, they will change the course. We'll be back in a few moments' time for round 2 of the CSIO 5-star in Jalapa, Coapexpan. It's the Longines Grand Prix.
Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman, number 11, Fernando Lizardo and 10, number 12, Enrique Gonzalez and Chapman, number 13, Patricio Pascual and Babel, number 14, Eduardo Menezes and Quinto, and number 15, Fernando Martinez and Coapexpan. Bien, le vamos a pedir, mientras preparamos la pista, la presencia del señor Enrique Fernández, Francisco Pasquel, del señor Fernando, del señor Joaquín Martinez, José Hernández, Alberto Martínez, Mario Oñate, Salvador Oñate, Miguel Torres Corso, Mónica Burillo, Don Antonio Quebrado Beso, Oscar Sport. Les vamos a pedir su presencia aquí enfrente de los VIP en la cancha, por favor. Federico Fernández, Francisco Pasquel, Jorge Nieto, Jorge Matienzo, José Hernández, Alberto Martínez, Mario Oñate, Salvador Oñate, Miguel Torres Corso, Mónica Burillo, Oscar Sport. La presencia de Don Antonio Quebrado Beso en la pista, por favor. Uno, dos, sí. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. Uno, dos. Por favor, Mario Oñate, Francisco Pasquel, Federico Fernández, Sergio Nieto, Joaquín Matienzo, José Hernández, Alberto Martínez, Miguel Torres Corso, Mónica Burillo, Don Antonio Quebrado Beso, los estamos esperando en la pista. Los estamos invitando a esta pista, por favor.
Buenas tardes. Quisiéramos agradecer a todas las personas que intervienen para poder llevar a cabo el FIO de Coapexpan. Quiero agradecer en especial a la familia Chedraui, a todos los amigos del FIO, a Jaime Azcárraga, que hicieron posible que estemos haciendo el 5º aniversario del FIO. Muchas gracias a todos.
Gracias. Pues todo este grupo, por favor, Mario Iñate. Gracias, Mario. Sí. Gracias. Joaquín Martinez, muchísimas gracias. Miguel Torres Corso, muchísimas gracias. Francisco Pasquel, muchísimas gracias. Topi, muchísimas gracias. Mira tu mano, gracias. Mi querido Chava, por favor, Salvador Oñate, muchísimas gracias. Y hay varios más que no están aquí presentes. Perdón, Pérez, muchísimas gracias, bienvenido. También Alberto Martínez, muchísimas gracias, aunque no está aquí presente. Toño Chedraui, que no lo vemos, y Sergio Nieto, que se me desapareció. ¿Dónde está? Pero bueno, a todos ellos, gracias de veras por todo su apoyo incondicional y esperamos que este concurso se pueda realizar 5 años más. Muchísimas gracias a todos y gracias por su colaboración. Gracias. Gracias. Pónganse a la foto. Vamos a la foto.
La pista se encuentra abierta para los jinetes que participan en el segundo recorrido de Longines de Anthem. The course is open for riders in the second course of this Longines Grand Prix. Las características de este segundo recorrido: jinetes, 9 obstáculos, 10 saltos, una distancia de 355 metros y una cadencia de 400 metros por minuto. El tiempo concedido 54 segundos, el tiempo límite 108. Les recuerdo que en caso de dobles ceros habrá un desempate. El desempate que constaría de 6 obstáculos, 7 saltos, una distancia de 155 metros, y tiempo concedido 39 segundos. En caso de desempate, obstáculos serían el 2, 3, 4, 5, 8A, 8B, 9. Repito, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8A, 8B, 9.
Salvador Renate is gonna not start.
100
No.
minutes to minutes,
Just
and
get
then
14.
Exactly.
and
Okay.
the height
These the
115.
best 15 are qualified, so there is
Yeah.
no moving up with some
Okay.
modifiers.
Okay.
So
Brilliant. Well, welcome back to the Longines Grand Prix here. It's a really exciting second round we're about to witness here in the main arena for the Jalapa CSIO 5-star Coapexpan in Mexico. 15 come forward for the second round, and of those we only saw the top 7 with clear rounds, 2 with 1 time penalty. We'll have a look down the leaderboard in just a second. Of those 15 that come forward, it may now, we're just hearing, may only be 14, as Salvador Oñate and Big Red for Mexico may not be coming forward for the second round. They just had the 1 fence down in round 1, but it is now round 2. The maximum height again for round 2, 1.60 meters, with a time allowed, shortened course for the second round. Time allowed 54 seconds. Well, once again, Guilherme Nogueira George has set a fantastic course. They set out over the Coapexpan upright. That's the fence you can see in your screens right now. And on 7 strides, they go to the Oxer at 2. Sharp left-handed turn, a real test of accuracy around this course. And it's to the upright at 3, before the Oxer at 4, and then comes the next related distance. They jump this in round 1, fences at 5 and 6. This is fairly similar to the last round in round 1. Then left-handed to the Oxer at 7 by the VIP area. 6 strides to the double at 8A and 8B. Slightly changed this time. It's a vertical in, Oxer out. And then on 8 curving strides to the Longines upright. That very high plank at 8 will be the last of the, on 8 strides, last of the 9 fences. It is 9 numbered fences, 10 jumping efforts, with just the 1 double, that coming at fence 8A and 8B. As I said, 15 come forward. We may see Big Red there, third to go, not coming forward. It is first to go Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Da Vinci for Mexico. Jose Antonio Chedra Agui in second to go. And then we move down the starting list. Lorenzo O'Farrell, she'll be coming with Queen's Darling, 6th out. The first of the Spanish, 4th out. Paula will be running Prunella Dariel for Spain, 4th. Diego Javier Vivero Veteri and Cesano VH Dinkenshoff, 7th for Ecuador. The Argentinian Fabian Sejanes and Siamalia Z. Canada's Kian White for Freedom Z. Brazilian Rodrigo Lambra. And then we move down to Eduardo Menez and Quintal. Fernando Martinez Sama and Corbaca will be the last to jump. So the course set, 54 seconds, the time allowed here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, for the CSIO 5-star Longines Grand Prix. Well, it caused a few troubles in round 1. We saw 1 retirement, 1 elimination. That was poor Fernandez. He fell in the water fence, got very wet indeed. As the first to jump will be Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Da Vinci for Mexico. Combination that come forward on 8 jumping penalties from round 1. Competed at the Youth Continental Championships in Kentucky 2009 in 18th place. Then went on to better that with a 8th individual and team 6th in 2010. Well, good start over the first 2. Then this turn back, roll back to the 3rd, and quickly on to the big Oxer at 4. Much shorter course. And jumping really well. 4 strides between the 2 fences at 5 and 6, and left-handed to the VIP area. Carrying 8, you can see those penalties carried forward. That now moves to 12. 1 fence down in the first round, on to the last. And over that Longines plank, it's an enormous fence, maximum height, 50.50 the time. So inside the time allowed, 54 seconds. Total of 12 penalties for Luis Alejandro Plasencia and Da Vinci. First to go in round 2 of the Longines Grand Prix. Still waiting for confirmation of Salvador Oñate and Big Red, whether or not they will jump in this second round here in Jalapa, Coapexpan. Only the top 15 come forward from round 1. We had 24 in round 1. 8 nations represented. So the next to jump will be Jose Antonio Chetrao Egua and Ninlube. Combination bringing just 1 fence down and 1 time penalty from round 1. Rode in 2 Olympic Games, Beijing, Hong Kong in 2008. And then on to, well, in fact, going back, we think team 14th at Atlanta, 96. Also represented the Mexican team in Jerez in Spain in 2002. And it was back in that Olympic year, 96, when his father Antonio created the Coapexpan Equestrian Club here in Jalapa. And his vision, and only one that he really had, and that was to facilitate and become the home for international show jumping competitions. Also director of the family supermarket chain here in Mexico. Very busy man. And with this 12-year-old by Nintendo, they just had that 1 fence and 1 time penalty in round 1. On to the last. And clears that. Really good. Clear round for Jose Antonio. Nothing to add. They stay on 5. That's a really good score to bring forward from the 2 rounds. I'm sure we're going to see more clear rounds as we move further down that leaderboard. Just waiting for confirmation, and I think it is, in fact, learning Salvador Oñate, Big Red have withdrawn. So the next to go, representing Spain, will be Paula Emilia riding a Prunella Dariel by Diamantesmi, 15-year-old bay mare, owned by Federico Fernandez, who fell in the water round 1, unfortunately, for Mexico. Paolo, Emilia and Prunella Dariel on 4. 1 fence down in the first round. Wife of Federico, former Spanish young rider champion, 2 years running back in 2005, 2006, and a finalist at European Championships in Mannheim in 2007. This lady also represented Spain at the World Equestrian Games in Normandy in Caen back in 2014, and part of the medal winning team at the Nations Cup final in the Olympic year 2012. So still clear. They come to the last. Clean pair of heels and inside the time allowed. So clear round number 2 in the second round for Paula Emilia and Prunella Dariel. Nothing to add in round 2. Stays on 4. Well, the lovely grey now is Tino La Chapelle by my Lord Carthago, South Francais, 11-year-olds, representing Mexico. Juan Jose Zentallas Salgado, Another one just to have the one fence down in the first round. Juan Jose, Zandagas, Salgado, Tino, La Chapelle for Mexico. Fourth out on course. So still clear. Time allowed 54 seconds. Turning back left-handed. Finished in fifth place in the team back in 2011 at the Youth Continental Championships. Individual 20th there as well. And another clear. Well, this competition is really hotting up. Juan Jose Zentallas Salgado, Tino La Chapelle inside the time, and so far one of the quickest around the course. 54 seconds is proving to be fairly easy so far. 3 clear rounds. So now it's the Mexican Lorenzo Farrell, Queen's Darling. She rides this lovely mare. Another one just have the one fence down in the first round, owned by Jacobo Martinez Ramos, by Quidams Rubin. Oldenburg bred 13-year-old bay gelding. Queen's Darling jumped a superb round in round 1. What they can make of round 2. 4 is the score to beat. Another combination that have had some really good form so far in 2018. They were 7th in the 1 meter 50 just a few days ago here in Coapexpan. Lorenza, she also rode at the World Equestrian Games in '98, but that one fence down so far takes them on to a total of 8. Just didn't quite make the back rail as they come to the last. Jumps the last, the Longines upright, 49.37, well inside the time. We'll just get confirmation of the time that's coming up on your screen, because time allowed is 54 seconds. Her time 50 point something or rather. I can't remember the point now. And it showed that she was around in 72.81. That wasn't her time. We'll just clarify that. We'll get clarification of that. It is now Ecuador, Diego Javier Veteri. And he rides Serrano VH Dinkenshoff, 11-year-old gelding, Dutch bred, owned by Natalia Pisano. Just had one time penalty in the first round. Jumped a superb first round. Already competed at 2 Continental Games in 2014 and 2015. And with this horse in round 1, really did jump. I mean, we watched the technique of this horse. Incredible style, incredible technique. Really tries. Has the most unique way with his front legs over some of the fences. Does not want to hit a pole though. Let's hope he can be inside that time allowed this time in 54 seconds. He was only just over in round 1. Really gets in the air. Coming home. One fence, 54 seconds, counting down, sees a stride, but has the last down, and a grimace there from Diego. It's total of 4 to add, so he finishes on 5. Diego Javier Rivera Veteri and Serrano, VH Dinkenshoff for Ecuador. Oh, that a real shame, because this horse was jumping in fine style the whole way round. Really hasn't put a foot wrong. Didn't really deserve to have the last down either, but he knew time was tight. He knew he had to take a bit of a risk coming from 8 to 9 around the corner, and unfortunately paid the penalty. Last fence goes. He finishes on 5. Now for Argentina, it is Fabian Sejanes and Siamalia Z. Another one just to pick up the one-time penalty in round 1, owned by Daniel Ruyan and the family. Argentina just with the one representative here at the Longines Grand Prix. Certainly won't want to have a fence down if he's going to stand any chance of getting into that jump off. We may not see a jump off. It depends on how the rest of them jump. This is the last of the falters. With that 1, the rest that we see, 7 of them, all on 0 from round 1. Jumping well. One fence. Time. Ooh, a little bit tight, is it? Come on. He knew he had to take a risk and gets away with it. And inside the time. 51.79. Clear round. Stays on 1 penalty. Fabian Sejanes and Siamalia Z. So he does take the lead so far. See the leaderboard there. Current leaderboards. It is Fabian Sejanes at the top with Siamalia Z. They only incurred that one-time penalty from round 1. Well, the next to go for Canada, it is Kian White with the Angelstone Partners for Freedom Z, Buy for Pleasure. The Balobé de Rouet lines, 13-year-old. And a superb clear round. The pressure now is starting to build for the final 7. Kian, successful junior career in his younger days with 5 successive trips to the North American Young Rider Championships. Hugely influenced by former Olympian Eric Lemaze. Founded Angelstone Farms at just 18 years of age in Ontario. Gives that a good rub, but it does stay in the cups. Hosts a number of international shows at his farm in Canada, in Ontario, Canada. Oh, well, 4 penalties. Bat rail goes. That will drop him down the leaderboard. Means that at the moment, Fabian Sejanes is sitting pretty at the top. 4 penalties to add for Kian White and for Freedom Z. Canada drop down with 6 left to jump in round 2. Here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico for the Longines Grand Prix, round 2. Well, we have 1 for Uruguay, 3 for Mexico, and 2 for Brazil left to go in the second round. And the first of the Brazilians is Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman. Rodrigo jumped a really nice clear round in the first round. This horse really just does step over the fences, makes little of them. Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman for Brazil. Ranked 63rd in the Longines World Rankings by Kitalota. Dorado, the dam sire, owned by Mario Agnota, 11 years old. Now to put the pressure on, he needs now to jump a really good clear round. There are 6 left. 3 fences left to jump. Come on, Coleman. 1 fence left to go. And he clears it. And he's inside the time. That's a great double clear for the Brazilian. Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman stay on 0. Well, this competition is now getting into a really exciting climax with the final 5. Rodrigo's certainly adding to that pressure as well. Puts the pressure on the last 5 that are left to go around this 9 fence course. 10 jumping efforts, of course, much shorter than the first round. And only 7 we saw with clears from round 1. Into the arena is for Uruguay. It is Juan, Manuel, Lizardo and Stan. Well, it's 12 months ago since his big win. And it's one that he hasn't forgotten either. A really impressive win. Breakout winner of Mexico's World Cup qualifier. And if anything, it's really made him hungry for more success. Stan, by any reckoning, doesn't cover the ground as quickly as you might see some, but he's deceptive. He's quick, and if he gets into a jump off, he really puts the pressure on those. Well, as I say that, he has a fence down. So that is 4 to add for Juan Manuel Lizardo. Owned by Muchaguara. By Staccato. He'll be disappointed with that, as you would expect. He's jumped really well this week. And clears the last inside the time allowed of 54 seconds. 1 fence down though, 4 to add. Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman still are the ones to beat. 4 left to go. What can they do? Enrique Gonzalez, Patricia Pascual, Eduardo Menzies and Fernando Martinez Sommer last to jump, as into the arena comes Enrique Gonzalez with his own Chacna by Chaco Blue, 11-year-old mare. One of Mexico's leading riders with numerous Grand Prix wins. Represented Mexico at the Olympic Games in Beijing. Remember the bronze medal winning team at the 2011 Pan American Games in his home country. And also represented Mexico at the World Equestrian Games in Caen, Normandy, back in 2014. An important year for the Mexicans, all vying for that place on the team for the World Equestrian Games in Tryon later on in the year. Still clear. Time is very good. Take your time. Ooh, gets close. Gives it a rattle, but it stays up. We have potentially a jump off. We do have a jump off. Enrique Gonzalez and Chacna jump clear to join Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman for the jump off in the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico. 2 clear rounds, 3 left to jump. Who, if any, will join them? Well, with the 3 left to go, 2 from Mexico, 1 from Brazil. It is Patricio Pascual with his own Babel as the sun comes out here in the main arena. Been a little bit overcast throughout the day. Babel by Billy Delis, 11-year-old chestnut gelding. Patricio Pascual, Babel for Mexico, now in the arena. They won the 5-star in Spruce Meadows last year in July. Numerous placings at Grand Prix level, and one of Mexico's most experienced riders, been a member of the Nations Cup team before, along with brother Francisco. So 2 in the jump off. Rodrigo Lambra for Brazil and Enrique Gonzalez for Mexico. Will we have another? No, we won't. Well, that was a bit of a disappointing jump by Babel, and he has the last, just to add insult to injury. 2 fences down, well inside the time, but total of 8 jumping for Patricio Pascual and Babel for Mexico. So it is 2 in the jump off, 2 left to go. And the grey trots in, Quintal, Eduardo Menez. What can Eduardo do? Fernando Martinez Sommer, he is last to jump with Coapexpan, but Eduardo Menez and Quintal. The grey by Quintenda. Quintenda 2, 13 years old now, Quintal. Owned by Eduardo himself and Gistut Luvitz, representing Brazil. Former Olympic rider, rode at the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games. 28th individually and 5th in the team competition. Also rode at the 2015 Pan American Games, 9th individually and 4th in the team. Just missed out very narrowly on a bronze medal podium finish at those Pan Am Games, and competed at the 2011 World Cup finals as well. Very experienced rider. Brazil got a good number of riders here, with 8 nations represented for the Grand Prix. Brazil with just 2 in the Grand Prix. We've of course got the Nations Cup, that comes up on Sunday afternoon, first horse local time 2 o'clock in the afternoon, with only 3 teams in it. Time is tight, time is tight. Can he make the last? Oh my goodness, he gave that plank a really good rub, but he joins the other 2, Rodrigo Lambra and Enrique Gonzalez, in the jump-off. Eduardo Menez and Quintal jump clear. And that is 3 clear rounds out of, so far, 13 combinations as we welcome into the arena the very last to go in the second round of the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico. Longines, of course, title sponsors here. Very grateful to them as well. It is Fernando Martinez Sommer and Coapexpan for Mexico. Last to jump, owned by Fernando himself, by Calandro, 11 years old now, Coapexpan. Mexico with 16 riders that came forward to jump in round 1. Competed in 3 Continental Games. In Lexington, Kentucky, 2008, 9th, 15th in 2009, and 6th in the team in 2010. 29 years of age. Gives that a bit of a rub, but it stays up. Bit of a puff of the cheeks there as he turns round to 5 and 6. Still clear. Ooh, lucky in the double at 8, and he's just got the Longines plank to jump, and he does it, and inside the time. So a great round. Fernando, Martinez, Sommer and Coapexpan join the other 3 into the jump off they go. 4 clear rounds out of the 7 that stay on round 1 score. It is Rodrigo Lambra, Coleman, Enrique Gonzalez, Chacna, Eduardo Menez, Quintol, and Fernando, Martinez, Sommer, and Coapexpan that make up the 4. Well, it's going to be exciting. It's going to come down to some really experienced riding. There are the 4: Rodrigo Lambra, Coleman, Enrique Gonzalez, Chacna, Eduardo Menez, Quintol, Fernando, Martinez, Sommer, and Coapexpan, the only 4 to jump clear. Fabien Sejanes, he jumped clear in the second round, just picked up the 1 time penalty in round 1. As we look further down that leaderboard, the standings after the second round of the Longines Grand Prix. So the competition is now over with the second round, the course being slightly adjusted for the jump off with the 4 riders. It is well, looking down, it's 2 from Mexico and 2 from Brazil. So that couldn't be closer, couldn't be more equal. Level playing field as we go to the jump off. We'll have a very quick turnaround here. Little break, so don't go too far away. We'll be back for the jump off in the Longines Grand Prix. Well, welcome back. The course is set, and the four that come forward for the jump off in the Longines Grand Prix is Rodrigo Lambra, first to go with Coleman, Brazil. Second, Enrique Gonzalez and Chacna, Mexico. Third, Eduardo Menez and Quintol for Brazil. And fourth and last to go, Fernando Martinez Summer and Coapexpan for Mexico. Two for Mexico, two for Brazil. It's going to be exciting right down to the wire. So what we do now, under the rules of show jumping for the Grand Prix, is we go back to zero. They start on zero, and it's all to play for. In fact, they were all on zero, these four. So it goes back to zero. They all start level playing field. And the jump-off course is now fences 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 A, B, and 9. So quite a twisty track. They they miss out fence 1. 1 has gone. 2 round the left-hand turn back to 3. Then on to fence 4. Then that right-handed turn to 5. Then it's all to play for. It's a tight turn. If they come back inside the car and a really tight turn back to double 8A, 8B, and then on 8 strides, we're going to see 7. We're going to see maybe 6 on to the Longines plank at fence 9. It's going to be tight. It's going to be all to play for. Excitement across the boards, and everybody in the VIP in the stands are all waiting for our first to go of the 4 in the Longines Grand Prix for the jump off. Rodrigo Lambra will be first to go with the 11-year-old grade Coleman. Just waiting for them. They're just doing their final warm-up preparations in the warm-up area behind the commentary position here. But what a day. We've had some really exciting rounds, and we look forward here at the CSIO 5-star in Jalapa for the Coapexpan International Show Jumping Show. It's Nations Cup on Sunday. That starts at 2 o'clock local time. We're 6 hours ahead of British summertime, 5 hours, in fact, behind. We're 6 hours behind British summertime, 5 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time. So do join us. We hope you can join us for the Nations Cup. That's on Sunday at 2 o'clock local time. Well, the first is coming into the arena under the Longines arch into the jump off, and it is Rodrigo Lambra for Brazil with Coleman, the 11-year-old grey by Kitliota. Well, an exciting 2 rounds he's had. You may remember if you were watching the first round how easy he made the first round. Shortened distance around the second round of the Grand Prix, the Longines Grand Prix, and now into the jump off. Will he throw the gauntlet down? Will he go for a steady clear? We will have to sit back, patiently wait and see. Rodrigo Lambra for Brazil. Coleman first to go. Well, he's setting off fairly quickly. Really long stride on this grey. Turns back to 2. Jumps across on the angle. Then on to fence 4, then 5. Then it's the decision. What will he do after 5? Is he going to turn? He's turned inside, and it's tight. Sees a stride to 8A, 8B. Now just the last to jump. It's the Longines plank. Well, it's they've swapped it around. They put a rail on the top this time. 30.36 and a clear. Treble clear for Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman for Brazil. What a start to this jump-off in the Grand Prix. I think we'll see quicker. I think we're definitely going to see quicker. He's a very big horse, Coleman, with an enormous long stride, but wouldn't be the nippiest and most nimble of horses. As we welcome into the arena Enrique Gonzalez and Chacna. 11-year-old bay mare by Chaco Blue for Mexico. We go in alternate Brazil, Mexico, and 2 from each country represented. Well, let's see what Enrique does. He looks like he's started off fairly quickly, going to the second fence, the first fence of the jump-off. Tight turn, jumps across on the angle, over the upright. It's this turn after here to 8. He's tight, he's tight. He presses, he has it down. So 4 to add. And stops the clock 30.37. It wasn't quicker. I'm just thinking he may have just taken the foot off the accelerator slightly, but it is 4 penalties. It means Rodrigo Lambra still sits out in front on Coleman, 30.36 and clear. 4 penalties for Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna as into the arena here in Coapexpan, Jalapa, for the CSIO 5-star competition. It's the Longines Grand Prix. Eduardo Menez and Quintol by Quintenda 2, 13-year-old grey gelding. Jumped 2 very good rounds to stay on 0. He's just waiting for Quintol to have an empty before they start their rounds. This young man has had an amazing year so far. Former Olympian, competed at his first Olympics in Rio in 2016. He set off like he means business as well. Gives the upright a real rub. Makes him a little bit sharper though. Look at the turn, look at the turn. He's up on the clock as well. Now he needs to just make sure he nails this first part of the double. Clever. Quintol is clever. Goes on to the last. Sees a stride and jumps it. 28.66. The time for the Brazilian. Well, whatever happens, it's going to be Brazil 2-3. But will the last to go upset the apple cart and go into the lead? There's only one left to jump. At the moment, it is Eduardo Menez and Quintol at the top of the leaderboard. 28.66 in second. Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman, 30.36. 2 clears from Brazil. What a couple of rounds they've had. So the very last to jump in the Longines Grand Prix. Jump off is Fernando Martinez Soma and Corbacca by Colandro. 11-year-old gelding. What can he do? He needs to go quickly. He needs to ride tight lines. He needs to be clever and quick around this track to stand any chance of lifting the Longines Grand Prix trophy. Oh, he's had it down. Brazil win. It's all over already. Where will he end up, though? Will it be third? Will it be fourth? He needs to jump clear all the way home, and he needs to be quicker than 30.37 in order to finish third. That goes as well. It's not going to be third. It's going to be fourth for Fernando Martinez Soma. And the last goes as well. 3 fences down in a time of 30.13. Total of 12. So it is a win for Eduardo Menez and Quintol for Brazil in a time of 28.66. Second, Rodrigo Lambra, Coleman, Brazil, 30.36. Third, Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna, 4 faults in 30.37. And in fourth from Mexico, Fernando Martinez Soma, Corbacca, 12 faults in 30.13. We'll get confirmation of the leaderboard in the Longines Grand Prix. There it is. It is Eduardo Menez and Quintol. Clear, 28.66. Second for Brazil, Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman, 30.36 clear. Third, Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna. For Mexico, 4 faults in 30.37. For Fernando Martinez Toma and Coapexpan for Mexico, 12 faults in 30.13. And moving further down, you can see the results going down into 11th, 12th for Ecuador. Diego Javier Veteri and Serrano VH Dinkenshoff. They finished in 11th. And Lorenzo O'Farrell, she rode the lovely Queen's Darling, 13th. And Salvador Ornati, they didn't start in round 2. They were the withdrawal. But what an exciting competition for the Longines Grand Prix. Stay with us. We do have the prize giving for the big class of the day here on the second day of the CSIO 5-star Jalapa Coapexpan, host of the Nations Cup. That runs on Sunday with the first horse in the arena at 2 o'clock local time, 6 hours behind British summertime, 5 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time. We hope you can join us. It's live and it'll be on platforms across the world and live on FEI TV as well. Well, an exciting competition we've had. Only 4 into the jump-off. And throwing the gauntlet down first to go, Rodrigo Alhambra. He jumped a superb clear, 3 clear rounds in a time of 30.36. Second to go, Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna. They had the 1 fence down, 30.37 for eventual third. And the winner, though, that came third. Eduardo Menez and Quintol in first place and lifting the trophy and claiming the title of the Longines Grand Prix 2018, the CSIO 5-star in Coapexpan. Jalapa, the host of the Nations Cup on Sunday. Well, the arena is just being cleared of fences, a few fences just to make room for the prize giving. The rugs are being presented to the horses in first, second and third. And the rosettes for horses first to fifth in the Longines Grand Prix. Sashes for first, second and third. And Longines wind cheater jackets and caps for all the grooms that have prepared all the horses for this Grand Prix here. We'll be underway very shortly with the prize giving, so do stay with us. Just as those final preparations are being made, I'll give you a quick rundown of that leaderboard. Again, it is Brazil 1-2, Mexico 3-4, Eduardo Menez and Quintol 28.66 and no penalties to add. Second for Brazil, Rodrigo Alhambra, Coleman 30.36. In third on 4 penalties in a time of 30.37, Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna. And in fourth place for Mexico, Fernando Martinez Toma, Coapexpan. 12 faults, wasn't there round in the last round, 30.13. Always difficult going last, whether you go for a safe clear or whether you really do put the pressure on and go for that big win. And it didn't just quite work out for Fernando and Coapexpan. They finish in fourth place. 12 faults in 30.13. Well, our presentation party are just getting organised to step into the arena, and the Longines wings with the impressive clocks down there are also being displayed. Longines title sponsors of the FEI Nations Cup on Sunday and also the Longines Grand Prix. The prize giving ceremony is moments away. So just looking over my left shoulder, the horses are being dressed in their Longines rugs, and they go to places 1, 2 and 3. There they are, just about to come in. Also the sashes and rosettes for horses 1, 2 and 3. The rosettes first to fifth, and sashes for horses first, second and third. Well, the grey there about to lead them in for the prize giving. Getting quite eager to come in the arena under the Longines archway. beautiful rugs for horses 1, 2 and 3 as well. An impressive round from Eduardo Menez and Quintal, 13 years old by Quintenda 2. Really did jump impressively well in the first round, held their nerve in round 2, and then an amazing display of horsemanship, and what a way to win the title. And both the Brazilians, in fact, jumping clears in all 3 rounds. Round 1, 2 and the jump off, and both grey. So I think they're now being allowed in to the main arena here. It'll be grey, bay. No, they're being sent out again. Just looking out to the arena. Presentation party seem to be already, not quite sure why they're not being allowed in. The red carpet is out, and they are, I think, ready to get underway. I hope you've enjoyed all the coverage wherever you've been watching around the world. It's been live streamed across a number of platforms on YouTube and also on Facebook, FEI jumping pages for the Longines Grand Prix. And of course, tomorrow is pretty much a day off for the riders, and Sunday we look very much forward to the second leg of the North American, Central American and Caribbean League here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico, for the Nations Cup. A team here very excited to have the Nations Cup here, second leg. The Mexicans always done very well in the legs and in the leagues on home soil. They'll be hoping for a good day on Sunday as well. Of course, with the World Equestrian Games coming up in a few months' time in Tryon. So Stanley Van Passion, the chef de keep of the Mexican team. We spoke to him already a couple of times. He's ridden in a number of World Equestrian Games in Stockholm in 1990. And then that bronze medal he picked up in Jerez in Spain in 2002. Some great memories of his achievements over the years. Mark Laskin, the chef de keep of the Canadian team, and Karen Hendry-Olette, the jumping manager, really supportive of the Canadians. 3 teams come forward on Sunday: Mexico, Canada, and Robert Ridlands with the USA. Well, the build-up music is now playing for the prize giving ceremony of the Longines Grand Prix, and in comes the winner of the Longines Grand Prix 2018 here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico. It is Eduardo Menez and Quintal. In second, Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman for Brazil. Brazil 1-2. Closely followed in third place for Mexico, Enrique Gonzalez and Chacna. And in fourth place, Fernando Martinez Sommer and Corbaca. So the presentation party are all down at the far end of the arena. Longines representative and brand manager Edith Chavez from the brand manager for Longines Mexico. Also joined by the FEI representative Yolanda Matalanga. I'm Manuel Casino, the Mexican National Federation president. Litamid Garcia and Antonio Shedra, the honorary president here at Jalapa, Coapexpan. So we have, I think, the top 5, maybe a few more coming into the arena for the prize-giving ceremony of the Longines Grand Prix. And what a competition we've had. Really has been impressive, really impressive, jumping from not only our top 3 but also from the top 7 that jumped clear in rounds 1 and round 2. Round 1, 7 jumped clear. So looking down the leaderboard, Juan, Manuel, Lizardo and Stan in 6th, Fabian Sejanes and Siamalia Z in 5th.
Vamos a dar inicio a la ceremonia de premiación de Longines Grand Prix.
So there are our presentation party, also the girls in national dress.
En sexto lugar se lo lleva Uruguay, Juan Lizardo, que montó a Stan.
So it is Juan Manuel Lizardo and Stan in 6th place in the Longines Grand Prix, being congratulated by the presentation party. Of course, winner of the Nations Cup qualifier last year in Mexico. Going further down the leaderboards, being congratulated in 5th place, Siamalia Z, the lovely horse for Fabian Sejanes. In 4th place, Fernando Martinez Soma and Coapexpan. Coapexpan just finishing outside. They had 3 fences down, fairly quick time. It was second fastest, in fact, in the Grand Prix competition. In 3rd place was Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna. 1 fence down, 30.37. Wonderful sights of Chakna just nibbling out of the basket. Sure, there's lots of treats in there. I think that's full of apples, actually. And the runner-up for the 2018 Longines Grand Prix for 2018, it is Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman for Brazil. Well, Coleman really enjoying his treats of a few juicy apples. Looks incredibly relaxed as the presentation party congratulate our runner-up in the Longines Grand Prix for 2018. And stepping forward for Brazil, the winner, Eduardo Menez and Quintal. Well, an amazing round. 28.66 was their time. Clear round. They're now asked to dismount. As they step forward onto the Longines podium. And congratulating each other before they step onto the Longines podium. As we now applaud the winner, and we stand for the... In fact, are we about to stand? I'm quite sure what's going on. Yep. So we're just about to congratulate the winner and stand for the national anthem of Brazil. So congratulations to the winner of the Longines Grand Prix here in Jalapa, Coapexpan, Mexico. Goes to Eduardo Menez and Quintal. Second to Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman. And third is Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna. So being presented now with the prizes from Longines, the Longines watch, and the brand manager from Longines, Mexico, Edith Chavez, presenting Eduardo with his new watch, and also the Longines trophy being presented to our winner. What a day he has had. An incredible feat for this young man. And Contender 2 really did turn the screws when they needed to be done. Antonio Chedrao, the honorary president, and congratulating second and third placings. So just a few photo opportunities from the team here with the Longines representatives. And they've now got to wear their Longines caps for the photos before the lap of honour. So the results there coming up on your screens. Oh, congratulations indeed, and getting much praise from the team here. The winner of the Longines Grand Prix, Eduardo Menez for Brazil, Quintal in second for Brazil as well, Rodrigo Lambra and Coleman, third Enrique Gonzalez and Chakna, and fourth Fernando Martinez Summer and Corbaca. That wonderful Longines watch being presented by Edith Chavez, the brand manager from Longines, Mexico. The whole team here to Yolanda Matalana for the FEI, the representative from the FEI, Juan Manuel Castillo, Mexican representative, the president of the National Federation, Yotimio Garcia, and Antonio Chedrao, of course, the owner and honorary president of this wonderful venue in Coapexpan, Jalapa, the capital of Veracruz, as the riders are now invited to remount before the lap of honour. Well, don't forget that Nations Cup. It comes on Sunday. It is 2 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, 8 o'clock British Summer Time. They're all PM, 7 o'clock PM for Greenwich Mean Time, 8 PM British Summer Time, and 2 PM local time here in Mexico. And you can watch that all live on FEI TV, also broadcast on many platforms around the world. We hope you can join us for leg 2 of the North American, Central American and Caribbean League. It is now, though, as we clear the arena of photographers of very important Longines watch and the trophy from Longines, the jumping horse, the bronze that was presented to our winner of the Grand Prix. We clear the arena for the lap of honour, make sure everybody is out of harm's way. The top 6 will do their lap of honour. The winner, of course, going twice around and getting applause from the crowds that have stayed. There aren't many. The VIP area is fairly full still. The guys that were on the bank, they seem to have disappeared, making their weary way home. Been a fairly long day here. 4:15 local time, 10:15 in British summertime, 9:15 Greenwich Mean Time in the evening. We hope you've enjoyed it as we now enjoy the lap of honour from the top 6. It is Juan Manuel Lizardo, Fabian Sejanes, Fernando Martinez Soma, Enrique Gonzalez, Rodrigo Lambra, and Eduardo Menez for Brazil, the winner of the Longines Grand Prix 2018. He's going around again. He's about to come past the VIP area. A worthy winner. Quintal, 13 years old, by Quintenda 2. The crowd showing their appreciation. And we've enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed it too. Don't forget to join us on Sunday for the Longines FEI Nations Cup Leg 2 here in Jalapa, Coapexpan in Mexico. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon local time, 1900 hours Greenwich Mean Time, 2000 hours British Summer Time, as the prize winners leave under the Longines arch. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've certainly enjoyed it. We look forward to seeing you all on Sunday for the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup Leg 2. We'll see you then.